Okay, so hello and welcome to another daily accountability session, and this is the last live daily accountability session that we will be doing before I take a little break for 6 days. And it's not that I don't do my accountability when I'm away on holiday. I still do it regardless whether I'm on holiday or not. But I'm going to a place where the internet is pretty spotty, to the point where I wouldn't be able to guarantee whether I could be online or not. I'm going out to a very small village, which is just on the edge of the River Nile here in Egypt. And we're staying, like, it's very, very remote, and the internet, shall we say, is not excellent. But I'm taking my journal and I have my video on my phone. So what I want to share is, don't stop the accountability because we aren't doing these live sessions until we're back next Thursday. So as soon as we're back next Thursday, we will be back onto the live sessions. But there is a video on the YouTube playlist called the straight up version. You can see it on the top right hand corner of the screen now, the straight up version, which is the daily accountability practice. It's the straight up short version of it. So just come in, bookmark that, and watch that every day. Don't stop your accountability. That's what I'll be doing while I'm away on this holiday or vacation. Oh, no pun intended. That's a lie. So that's what will be happening. Yeah, so I'm super excited. We're taking my 3 youngest children. My teenagers are staying home and looking after the animals, and probably gonna have wild parties and do things I really don't want them to do. Let's hope not. Yeah, so this is going to be interesting for me. So I'm going to miss our live sessions, but we're going to be back here next Thursday. Now, in the meantime, I wanted to obviously leave you with a message. And today is our Think Day. And it's really interesting because I was sitting there this morning. I never plan out particularly what I'm going to say. It just sort of comes to me. And I was thinking there this morning, what am I going to tell people? What am I going to say to people today? What I'm going to share with people today? And I thought of something, and I thought, oh God, that's so random. Like what would that have to do with anything? And then I randomly opened up a YouTube video, and it had 111 views. And then I looked at my clock, and it said 11:11. And then so I know this is somebody needs to hear this today. It's a message for somebody today that needed to hear this. So it came to me, and I started to think about my life, and I started to think this morning. It was very profound for 6 o'clock in the morning, but I started to think this morning about how different my life would have been if I had listened to other people, well-meaning people, sometimes, loving, caring people, but how different my life would have been if I'd actually listened to them and took their advice. Martha gets that. Took their advice and did what they suggested or followed their advice. It would have led me in a very different direction in life. And I'm not sure where that direction would have been because I didn't take it. But my point is, when I look around at my life, I'm so happy with it. Like, it's hard not to get emotional about it because it's a good life. And it's a good life not because of the things in it, it's because I created it. I was so true to myself, my instinct, my intuition. I was so true, and everything I went forward into. Don't get me wrong. I've had good times and bad times. I've failed sometimes at things, and thought to myself, oh God, if I hadn't done that, that wouldn't have happened. But I've never regretted it. And I've always taken it on board as, well, it's okay because it was my choice. And it would have been very different had I done something and it hadn't worked out. And it was because of somebody else's advice. Okay, so I'm a big one in taking personal responsibility. Now, if I say I'm going to do something and the world and his wife says, no, don't do that, it's a bad idea, and this can happen, and this can happen, and blah, blah, and then it does, then I don't mind, because that was my choice. I owned it. I did what I wanted. But if I took the advice of other people, and I've known people in my life who have constantly wanted to please other people and taken the advice of parents and elders and things like that, and they've ended up really miserable and not happy, because you are trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, or you are not in your lane, you're not taking your path, you're in somebody else's lane, and that's not where sometimes you need to be. So my message to you today, because you're like, where is she going with this? My message for you today, and what I want to talk about today in the affirmation of things, is that I have always respected other people's opinions, because I like my opinions to be respected, because we are all entitled to our own opinions. You can never say, if somebody gives you advice, you can never say to someone, that's rubbish, that's stupid, that's, what you can say is, I respect your opinion, but I disagree. Or I respect your opinion, but I am not of the same opinion, So I love listening, and I'm a huge listener. I love to just sit and listen to people, their experiences, their opinions. I like to ask them what they base their opinions on, or their advice on, and things like that. I like to dig a little bit deeper, and I think that's a sensible thing to do. And then I think it's also a sensible thing to do to say thank you at the end of it, for them caring enough to give them your opinion or their advice or something like that. But in the end, the most important thing is that you do what you feel is right for you. So my affirmation for today is, my life, my choice. Okay? My life, my choice. It's my life, it's my choice. And that does not mean to say you cannot respect the opinions and the advice and the guidance of other people. We all need that. We're all being guided in a certain way. We're all being guided in a certain direction by somebody. I guide other virtual assistants, but that doesn't mean to say always that what I suggest for them is the right path. They have to also use what's built into them. I guide my children, but that doesn't mean to say that they have to listen to my guidance. They have to choose what's right for them. And it's really such an important thing to distinguish, and be able to distinguish within yourself about what feels right and what doesn't feel right, but still being respectful of the people who are trying to guide you and take you in a certain direction. And the most important thing is that you never feel, when somebody gives you advice and guidance, and you don't feel good about it, but you think, oh, okay, well, they've been around longer, they know better, they're older, they've done this and that, so maybe I'll do that, when it feels wrong to you. And then if something goes wrong, it's a horrible feeling to always think in the back of your mind, I shouldn't have listened to that person, I shouldn't have taken that advice, when you knew deep down it wasn't right for you. So respect, but you don't always have to accept. Martha says, what you suggested for me was the right path. Well, I threw that in there, but usually I know about VAs. But the interesting thing is, and again, this is very, very important, when you're looking for a mentor or somebody to guide you in business or anything in that respect, it's so important that you look at that person's life. And this is why I'm so open about my life, because I'm a mentor and because I'm a coach. So people can understand more about my life, they can understand more about how I live my life and the kind of person I am, so they can decide for themselves, do I want to follow the advice of this person based on how she's living her life or what her life looks like. And the interesting thing is, and I started off this session, hi Nikki, before you came in, I started off this session saying that I'm so happy with my life. And I try not to impose my choices and my decisions on other people, but I try to encourage them to make the decisions and choices that are going to make them happy, not what would have made me happy, but try to help people find what's going to make them happy. And usually 9 times out of 10, if you can get someone to take those really tough decisions, because sometimes it is tough, it's so tough knowing that your choices and your decisions might impact other people, hurt other people. It's not something that they would really want, and it hurts other people because it's not what they want, you know. But in the end of the day, the only thing that really matters is what you want, because we're here for a very relatively short period of time in this body on this earth, and it goes by in a blink. You know, I started my business in 2005 and I was a single woman, and here I am 19 years later with 5 children, a divorce, a remarriage, you know, like it's like another marriage. I mean, like, I've gone through so much. The business is actually the only consistent thing that's been around through all of it in my life. But I've done everything I wanted, and I've traveled and I've seen the world, and people have guided me and advised me, oh, how is this going to impact your children? They're going to have difficulties. They're not going to be able to do things that normal kids do because you're moving them around. And it was all rubbish. And I knew it instinctually, because I knew the only thing that really mattered is that the parents were happy and that the children were raised in a happy, comfortable, relatively stress-free environment, and that they were being taught and being shown that the most important thing is you do what you love. You know, I always remember someone saying to me, a very well-meaning person, but how are your children ever going to get proper jobs if you don't have one? You know? And I was just like, well, I do actually have something, you know, that is, yeah, it was like, how, like, why don't you just settle down in one place and get a job? It was very interesting, and it was somebody who knew nothing about traveling, had never left the country, had never lived anywhere else. It was somebody who'd pretty much been in the same type of job all their life, or had like a few jobs but not that many. And I just think to myself, like, I respect your opinion because that's your experience, and that makes sense to you, but it made no sense to me. And my kids are just fine. Yes, they've got all kinds of quirks and differences and things like that. But at the end of the day, life skills are life skills, you know, and everyone passes them on from elder to younger person, providing, you know, you get the opportunity. And they've had an incredible life, and that, when I look back, I don't think I would have done anything differently. I wouldn't have done anything differently. So I certainly never would have taken the advice from people that have not walked in the shoes that I want to walk in. And that's my message for you today, and that's just something I want you to think about. And like I say, the 1111 and the 111, and this came up in my mind this morning because somebody here, or somebody watching this video, needs to hear this at the time. It was a very much message from above type thing. Okay, so having said that, we are on our Think Day today, so let's pull a little bit of a little message out from the universe, a little message out from the cards. What do our co-workers need to know today? We're going to end on a light note here, but it's a very serious topic, and I don't think people take it seriously enough, that decisions that you make and advice that you take, if you decide to go against your personal instincts, then it can have consequences. Okay, what do our co-workers need to know? I am not afraid to feel afraid. That's a really interesting thing. That's like saying, like, and again, I feel like this ties in what we're saying, because I think some people are afraid to listen to themselves in case something goes wrong. Like, people are afraid to be wrong. Like, they don't want people looking at them saying, I told you so. Or, you know, if they make a decision and it falls flat on, they fall flat on their face and something goes wrong, they're afraid of how they will feel on the other side of it, and they're afraid of what people, you know, these good intending people would say if they didn't follow their advice and exactly the thing that they said would happen happened. Okay, but the message here is, I'm not afraid to feel afraid. It's okay to feel that way. The most important thing is you overcome that, and in the end you do what you feel is right for you, because whether you're afraid of what other people are going to say or not, in the end of the day, how you will feel once something either goes right or wrong is only for you. That's only inside you, and there is nothing outside that will ever be affected by that. So that's the message for today. Bit heavy, but there we go. And like I was saying, for everybody, or if Nikki's just come in, we are taking a little break now from the live sessions. I'll be back next Thursday, because I'm going to be in the middle of nowhere on the River Nile, and the straight up version replay, accountability replay, is going to be available for you. So thank you so much for listening to this. Thank you for being here today. I shall miss you until next week, and we're going to, I'm going to leave you now, and we're going to start our accountability session. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Nick, I'm going away. I'm going on holiday. Yay. Okay, so I'll turn my camera off now, and we will do our accountability, and then I shall see you next Thursday.
First, we're going to do our gratitude. Think about the day before. Think about everything that you feel grateful for from the day before and write it down. You can find at least one thing. Let's begin. Next, we're going to read our goal. This should be written down somewhere. Read it through right now in the next minute. Now we're going to spend 1 minute closing our eyes and doing a visualization. Visualize yourself having achieved the goal, or the things around you that show you've achieved the goal. Let's begin. Well done. And finally, we have our most important task for the day. Write down a task that you want to accomplish today that's going to help you take one step further to your goal. Think about it. Let's begin. Well done, you, for completing your daily accountability. I am super proud of you. You have done so well. And don't forget, you can join me live online inside Virtual CoWorking Space every day where I create these videos live. Please do like this video if you do like it, because I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a comment down below with the affirmation of the day. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any updates. Thank you so much and have a fantastic day.